Nika and Rigel face a troubled childhood in an orphanage. They get adopted as teens and share a love-hate relationship. They also face the legend of the tearsmith on their path to recovery. Nika colors a band-aid before giving it to her mother. She feels a bit of tenderness can heal anything. Nika spots a wolf and gets scared. Her mom thinks wolves are only scary because they have been depicted that way in fairy tales. Her dad tries to spot the wolf but misses the truck headed towards them. Nika loses both her parents in the accident and makes her way towards the orphanage grave. There's a legend in Grave about a tearsmith who lived in a world where people didn't have emotions. The lonely tearsmith could make crystal tears with his glass eyes. People asked him to help them cry so they could feel something. When the tearsmith put his tears in their eyes, they cried in anger, despair, and pain. Nika never knew she would be a part of this story when she stepped into Grave. Miss Margaret thinks it's odd Nika is named after a butterfly. She sees it as an insect with a few days to live. Margaret insists that all the children should follow order, respect, and obedience. She instructs Peter to take Nika's suitcase since they all share things. She doesn't even let Nika keep her mother's butterfly necklace. Rigel pulls it right out of her neck. Nika knows things will be hard at Grave, but it's also the place where she meets the tearsmith. Adeline takes Nika to her room and explains that everyone thinks she's sick because she is pale. Nika agrees to be her best friend, and years go by. In her teens, Nika plays with a rat and promises to visit Adeline. She wants Nika to never look back once she's out. Nika thanks Adeline and knows she wouldn't have survived without her. Grave has always been like a prison for Nika, and she has spent years hoping someone would adopt her. She knows she's not special, but no one even notices her. She has flashbacks of someone getting sick from her childhood at the orphanage. She was invisible till Anna and Norman Milligan decided to adopt her as a teenager. Margaret explains that Nika has been cut from playing with animals all the time. Margaret asks Nika to remember what she has learned at Grave. This is a trial, and her custody can be revoked if she causes trouble. They hear someone playing the piano beautifully. Nika knows him as the pride and joy of Grave. He's the star child everyone wants to be. He is polite to everyone but Nika. She informs Anna about Rigel and decides to adopt him too. Margaret doesn't seem eager to give him up. She keeps making excuses about how hard it is to handle Rigel. Anna and Norman still assure her they know what they're doing. Margaret signs his papers, and Rigel and Nika leave with the Milligans. Nika has always longed for a family, but she never imagined she would share it with Rigel. She still can't gate him because she is so used to him. Anna and Norman show them the house, and he jokes about Anna being a neat freak. Anna shows Nika to her room, and she's excited about finally having one of her own. Norman offers his son's old uniform to Rigel, who is courteous about accepting it. Anna introduces Nika to their cat, Klaus, who can be affectionate when he wants. Rigel takes his medication and puts something else in his drawer. Nika reminds him that it's very important for her that things work out with Anna and Norman. Rigel asks her to never come to his room. He thinks it'll be fine if she stays away from him. Anna informs them about her greenhouse over dinner, where she grows and sells plants. Norman works with pest control, but only deals with dangerous or deceased creatures. Anna asks if they were friends in the orphanage. Nika politely claims they are like siblings. Rigel puts his hand on her thigh and claims they know each other well. Nika excuses herself, and they ask Rigel if his parents named him after a star. Rigel explains that Margaret named him because he never knew his parents. Rigel's touch disturbs Nika, and she feels like his toxic charm is overwhelming. Rigel feels she shouldn't have run away, but Nika knows everything is just a game for him. Rigel feels the Milligans will soon find out that she hates him and isn't perfect. She also hopes they see him for who he is because she thinks he's the tearsmith. In the past, Adeline thought the tearsmith would take Nika away if she cried. Nika doesn't know if he exists and thinks it's a tale so they don't feel any emotions. Peter informs them about Rigel being sick again, but Margaret doesn't want them to watch. Nika wakes up from the nightmare of watching Rigel. She hears Anna asking them to get ready for school. Rigel saves Nika from a speeding car and asks her to be more careful. Billy from the welcoming committee at Barnaby suddenly takes a first-day photo of Nika. It might not be the best idea after the day Nika had, but Nika is glad to make a friend in Billy, who keeps gushing about the photos she has of the popular guy, Phelps. Billy doesn't have too many of her best friends, Mickey, who ignores Nika. Phelps brags to his friend Lionel about sleeping with Nika soon, but Rigel gives him a dirty look as he walks by. Mr. Kirill is impressed by Nika's science grades and thinks she'll do very well. They hear some commotion and find Rigel and Phelps in a fight. Kirill breaks them up and asks if Phelps wants to get suspended again. He claims Rigel started it, but Kirill leaves him with a warning. Nika clarifies to her friends that Rigel is not her brother. Mickey is still happy because she wants someone to teach Phelps a lesson. Anna asks Nika why Rigel didn't want to join them for dinner. Nika stands up for him and insists nothing weird happened in school. Anna looks at the photo Billy clicked of her and is glad she's already making friends. Anna gets out of the room and assures Norman that everything is fine. Nika wonders why Rigel let the Milligans adopt him when he never let anyone else. He was always the first choice for adoption, but he kept rejecting them. He asks Nika to leave, but she suggests wrapping a cloth around the ice for his wound. He asks her to never touch him again because he won't be able to control himself. Nika feels she is finally in a fairy tale, but not the kind she hoped for. Anna wants to buy clothes for Nika that day and asks her to take Rigel's clothes to his room. Rigel is not around, so she starts snooping. Before she can find anything, Rigel reminds her she is supposed to stay away. He knows she thinks of him as the Tearsmith or the wolf of any fairy tale. He thinks she's a hypocrite when she talks about kindness because she hates him. He knows she's shaking because he's close, and even his voice scares her. She doesn't understand what he wants with her. While denial is great, this seems pretty clear. He knows she is obsessed with fairy tales and isn't brave enough to accept one without a wolf or a bad guy. Lionel approaches Nika after finding out about her. She asks him to hold still while she takes out a snail from his shoulder. She knows the shell protects her, but could also hurt her the most. Rigel gives him a look too, so Lionel asks if they're together. Nika clarifies that they're not, but Billy takes her away for a test. Anna asks Nika to try a dress they both like. She thinks Nika is beautiful and should accept it and show it. Anna tries to get a belt for the dress while Nika struggles to open it. She feels a man's hand unzipping her and feels suffocated when Anna puts a belt on her. She panics and faints and remembers the time Margaret used to torture her. Margaret has always known everything about all the kids. She takes young Nika to the dungeons because she knows Nika is afraid of the dark. Nika keeps screaming in the darkness till she hears footsteps and warm fingers comforting her. The pain soon subsides, and she's sure they are Adeline's. Young Nika admits she has been a bad girl and promises to be better. Nika now tries to think of Anna whenever the past comes up. She can't tell Anna what she has been through, but assures herself that she has a chance to be happy. Anna is glad Nika got enough sleep. Anna has cuts on her fingers because she likes to work with thorns on the roses. Nika colors her band-aid like she did with her mom and asks why there are so few roses. Anna informs her about Garden Day, which Billy explains is a tradition of anonymously gifting roses. All colors have different meanings, and they have to open their lockers one day before. The fun part is to guess who sent them. Billy knows Mickey's locker will be full of roses from a psychology student who likes her. Billy always gets one white rose, which she assumes is from a shy guy. Nika opens her locker to find a black rose, which signifies tormented love. She heads home to Rigel's room and asks if he gave it to her. He snatches it away and pushes her onto the bed while she attempts to get it. Nika pushes him away when she hears Anna. She is excited about a boy calling on Nika and explains that she will be out for a business dinner that night. Lionel brings Nika's book back, which had her address. He asks her for ice cream, while Rigel watches them leave. As far as anger goes, things don't look good for Lionel. Nika shares that she was 8 when her parents passed away. They were biologists, and Lionel finally understood why she was so great at science. She tries to keep the ice cream spoon, so she can probably use it to mend a baby bird's wings. He asks if she mends broken hearts too. Surely that smoothness might get him a chance. Rigel is playing the piano when he hears Nika and Lionel coming back. Lionel is proud of dropping her home safely in the rain, but he knows she's strong enough to survive anything. She's different from anyone he knows, and he thinks she's very gorgeous. He tries to kiss her, but she insists she needs to head inside. Nika stares at Rigel playing the piano and feels it's impossible to not look at him. It might be possible if she just tries. She has seen butterflies getting crushed by people at grave. Since Rigel sets it free, she feels like there's some light in him. She comes to check on him when his head aches, but he doesn't want her to. He knows it's in her nature to try and fix people. Nika feels like he's trying everything to make her hate him. He does want her to hate him, but Nika now wants to understand why he acts this way. As Nika sits alone for dinner, she realizes Rigel makes her heart race like no one else. She gets a video from Lionel showing her how Rigel beat him up. Hopefully, it's for a good reason. She confronts Rigel and asks what she has done to deserve this. Right before he almost passes out, he claims it's because she is his Tearsmith. Nika drags Rigel to bed since he's burning up with a fever. Anna and Norman are stuck in traffic because of the storm and decide to call them. Nika helps Rigel lie down comfortably and takes off his clothes so he doesn't feel wet. Anna informs Nika about their situation, and she asks for medicines. She informs them about Rigel's fever, but claims she has everything in control. Everything except her life. Nika forces Rigel to take the medicines, but he begs her to stay. He pushes her into the bed with him and starts touching her with passion. Rigel remembers the time when Adeline informed Margaret that the new girl had arrived. He remembers when he pulled out her necklace and kept it safely in a box. When young Nika comes to him with salt, he asks her to leave. Margaret scolds her for not being at her table and is about to punish her. His hand on purpose, so Margaret gets distracted and attends to him. Adeline has seen Rigel cut his hair and asks what he's hiding. She finds Nika's necklace, which she assumed Rigel had thrown away. She knows Rigel still has it because he likes her. Rigel asks Adeline to not say anything because he wants Nika to keep thinking that he hates her. Rigel keeps kissing Nika in the present, even after they wake up. She hears a car pulling in and pushes him away. She pretends she was checking up on Rigel in front of Anna and Norman. Anna asks her to get some rest and wonders what happened to Rigel's lips. Nika ignores Lionel's calls and becomes distant with Rigel again. She doesn't even talk to Lionel for days, even if they meet in school. She's glad to have her girlfriends, which is the first time after Adeline. Mickey is secretly a millionaire, but she doesn't want anyone to know. They decide to hang out at her place. Nika easily explains the difference between bacteria and viruses to her. Mickey thinks she should take over from Kirill. Billy feels as sleepy as Mickey does in Kirill's class. Nika goes to the bathroom and comes out to find Mickey kissing Billy in her sleep. Mickey wants Nika to keep her secret, but she now knows Mickey gave Billy the white roses. She thinks Mickey should confess her feelings, but Mickey doesn't want to risk losing her best friend. Lionel corners Nika on the streets and asks why she's ignoring him. He really likes her, but wants Rigel to stop interfering. Nika claims Rigel will always be a part of her life because of what happened in the orphanage. She bumps into him and breaks the gift she got for Rigel's birthday that day. It was the last piece, and she couldn't give him anything else. Nika knows Lionel will not understand that Rigel hates presents. This was her way of helping Rigel remember he could shine like the star he was named after. Nika meets Anna's friend Dalma and her daughter Asia at home. Dalma jokes about revealing all of Anna and Norman's secrets to her. Nika also meets Dalma's husband, but Asia is curious about why Nika was in an orphanage for so long. Rigel also joins them, and Anna asks Nika to get the door. Nika is surprised to see Anna also invited Adeline for lunch. Adeline is almost an adult, so the orphanage let her find a job in town. Dalma has heard that Nika is popular with the boys at school. She asks for Rigel's opinion on this, but he claims he doesn't care. Anna brings out Rigel's cake and is excited about starting a new chapter with them. They have signed the papers, and Nika and Rigel will officially become Milligans the next day. Asia taunts Anna about getting 2 for the price of 1. She feels like Anna is trying to replace her son, Alan, and hasn't mentioned him in months. Anna assures her they remember him, even if they don't like to discuss him. Anna claims they're trying to move on by doing something good for kids who need love. Asia wants love too, but hates that she will never see Alan again. She knows she can't get a chance to confess her love to him, and doesn't think anyone can replace him. Adeline asks Nika to not get involved in their problems. She knows the Milligans care about her, and asks her to live her life. Nika doesn't think she fits in with them. She feels they don't know how ugly, broken, and useless she is. Adeline doesn't think she is any of those things. She reminds Nika that she is free from grave. Since Rigel left, Margaret also kept to the room. They usually hear screams and things breaking. Adeline met Peter recently, who is also struggling to adjust to his new family. He thinks they should press charges against Margaret. Adeline feels Nika's testimony is crucial. She was tortured the most, but Nika doesn't have it in her to face Margaret again. Anna informs Nika about Dalma and George leaving. She doesn't want Nika to hear all that about Alan, but Nika doesn't care. Adeline asks Rigel to tell Nika he only came there to be with her. Rigel doesn't want to take away the chance of getting a family she always wanted. Adeline still feels he should tell her that he held her hand in the dungeons. Rigel is afraid to share this because he feels a wolf like him has no right over her. Norman and Anna feel bad for Asia. Anna thinks she needs to know where her love ends and pain begins. Nika hears Rigel playing the piano and wants to join him. She wants to wipe away any memories of Margaret every time he plays. She hopes he can hold his hand and make him happy. Nika apologizes for not getting Rigel a present, but it doesn't matter to him. She insists he can have anything, so he touches her again. He asks her to stay still while he kisses her, but they hear the doorbell. She asks him to wait for her till she's back. Lionel can't stop thinking about Nika and doesn't like her living with Rigel. He assumes there's something going on between them, and is sure Rigel wanted a sexual favor. He reminds her they're about to be brother and sister, and asks her to think about what their parents will feel. Lionel tries to get close to Nika, but she asks him to leave. Rigel knows he doesn't have a place in her fairy tale. He asks her to go back to Lionel, but she refuses to leave. He reminds her that they're broken and damaged, and some things can't be fixed. Nika knows they're broken, and feels that's why they're better together. Rigel loses himself in her and kisses her again. But he knows she deserves a new family and a normal boyfriend. She is happy with Rigel, but he doesn't think their story will end well. He feels he can only hurt her. Nika knows they felt so connected because of everything they have been through together. Nika is heading out to study with Billy and Mickey, after which they're going to the dance. Anna asks about Rigel, but Nika hasn't spoken to him recently. Anna confronts Rigel and asks about his problem. Rigel claims he needs to talk to her too. Billy is being choosy about her dress for the dance. She thinks Phelps sent the white roses, and he even admitted when she asked him. Mickey is sure he didn't send them, but Billy feels Mickey can never be happy for her. Mickey admits she has been sending roses to her since the time they met. Billy feels offended and thinks Mickey did it out of pity. She demands an explanation, and Mickey admits that she's in love with her. Billy walks out, and Mickey knows she has messed this up. Rigel leaves the necklace in Nika's room while she walks into the dance and finds Billy. Mickey is still upset, but Billy has decided to get drunk and forget her problems. Lionel feels bad for being an idiot and admits he has a huge crush on Nika. He offers to dance with her, while Rigel changes his path midway. Nika has danced a lot, so Lionel suggests they can go somewhere quiet. He brings her to a lab and shows her the lights. Lionel kisses her, but Nika feels uncomfortable and wants to go back. He thinks she wants to be alone with him, and now she's resisting. He keeps kissing her and forces himself on her. Rigel turns up at the dance and asks Billy about Nika. She has last seen him with Lionel and points in their direction. Nika makes it clear that she's uncomfortable, but Lionel pushes her onto the table and keeps forcing her. She shouts out for help, and Rigel fights him off her. He asks Lionel to run if he doesn't want to get beaten up. Rigel checks on Nika to make sure she's fine. Nika remembers her mother's last words. She said the wolf is only evil because the stories made him that way. She thinks if Rigel is the wolf, she can't imagine her fairy tale without him. Rigel knows their path will be very difficult, but Nika is not afraid of getting hurt. Nika and Rigel lose themselves in each other and have a course in the lab. They feel happy, and he feels like she has finally accepted him. Lionel finds them walking on the bridge and thinks they're disgusting for being attracted to each other. He threatens to tell everyone about them and thinks Rigel should think of Nika as his sister. He starts driving in frustration towards them, so they start running away. He gets so close that Nika and Rigel are forced to jump in the water. As Rigel sinks deeper, Nika gets a flashback. She realizes Rigel was the one who held her hand. She wakes up to Adeline in the hospital, who wants to get Anna and Norman for her. Nika asks Adeline about Rigel holding her hand. Adeline finally admits it was him all along, but he never wanted Nika to know. Anna and Norman come to see her, and Nika asks about Rigel. Anna explains that they're running tests on him, and they will know more later. The doctor explains that they fell from a very high bridge. Rigel's body broke Nika's fall, but he's in a coma now. He claims Rigel had a pre-existing condition called neuronomas in his brain. It causes fever and severe headaches. He doesn't understand why Rigel was never operated on for it. Nika wants to see him, but Margaret won't let them. Rigel rejected the adoption and made it clear to Anna that he didn't want to stay. Now, he's back in Margaret's care, and she refuses to let anyone in. Anna gives Nika the box he left for her, and she finds her mother's necklace. Adeline takes Nika to Margaret, who always knew Nika would destroy Rigel. She never wanted to leave him, and feels Rigel's coma is Nika's fault. Nika begs Margaret to let her see him, but Margaret plans to keep them apart forever. Nika tries to get close to him every day, and doesn't give up. But her past still haunts her. She knows she can only get freedom if she testifies against Margaret. The judge calls Peter to the stand as the first witness. He denies that he was ever subjected to physical or emotional abuse at Sunny Creek Home Orphanage. The judge reminds him that he made a different statement in February. He had earlier claimed that he was many times and went home. Peter insists he was wrong earlier, even when he is informed that giving a false testimony is a crime. Margaret gets the same smug look on her face no one can stand. Asia has heard about Nika's trial and feels bad for how she acted earlier. Nika claims to understand what it's like to lose someone. Margaret's lawyer asks Nika to confirm if she was adopted 4 months ago with Rigel. She also asks if Rigel turned down the adoption willingly to get back to the orphanage. Nika tries to explain it's not how it seems, but admits he turned the adoption down. Margaret's lawyer thinks it's unlikely that Rigel would go back to a place where he was abused. Nika clarifies that Margaret never He was always like a son to her. Nika admits she is in love with Rigel, so the lawyer twists her statement. She projects that Rigel wanted to go back to his real mother to get away from her. Nika claims Rigel hates Margaret, but the lawyer feels Nika is insulting her innocent client. Nika gets a panic attack and rushes to the bathroom. Anna asks her to not give up yet and to have faith that things will get better. Nika gets back on the stand and claims she's fit to give the testimony. She explains that they called the orphanage grave because it was like a tomb for their souls. She doesn't have any current physical to prove it, but she knows she's speaking up to fight the evil committed against all the. She explains how Rigel was forced to watch them get daily. Margaret convinced him he was a monster or a wolf in a fairy tale. She knows it's complicated to love or be loved when someone thinks they're evil. She feels happy knowing that even if Rigel is in a coma, he is free from Margaret's brainwashing. He finally knows that he is loved back. She understands why some people are still afraid to testify, but she feels love has given her courage. Everyone claps for her, and she runs back to Rigel. She informs him that they won, and Margaret can't control them anymore. She also feels he is her tearsmith because he can make her cry and feel glad at the same time. As she lies on him, she feels Rigel moving his fingers. He calls out her name, and she's back to living her fairy tale. They are now free and surrounded by people who love them. She also believes fairy tales exist within people's hearts and enjoys watching her daughter with Rigel grow up.